So it gives me great pleasure today to be working here in South Africa and meeting up with a wonderful lady who is working with wild animals. And here we have today Vicky. Hello Vicky, it's really lovely to meet you. Can you tell me a little bit about the work that you are doing?
Hi, yes, good morning, Elizabeth. Nice for you to be here. We're thrilled to have you, and sure, so are the animals. You know, we've worked with a lot of rescue animals. We've worked with animals that are misfits. We do a bit of filming with the animals to give them a purpose. But the main reason is the animal communication, and obviously animals that have been displaced, and just to give them a good home, and to learn more about the animals that have been brought to us, misfits as they are. It gives us an opportunity to work with that particular species.
And it's so wonderful. You're introducing me to this beautiful female. What's her name?
Her name is Salati. She's a very special. I haven't done much work with leopard. I've hand-raised a couple of leopards, but I haven't really ever worked with one. She's the first one that I've worked with, and we've got a great relationship.
And how old is she?
She's approximately about 4 years old now. We still walk her up in the mountains. We take her up into the back mountains and walk. It's becoming less and less because she sort of gets more and more, stops her concentration, wanders off somewhere else. So it becomes a very long process of like a day if we take her out because she's up a tree and runs off. But she's a very special cat.
And I understand as well here that it's wonderful that you're learning a lot about leopard behaviour by observing them and finding out more about what they need.
Yes, absolutely. That is our whole purpose, you know. We use them, if you want to call them, the ambassadors of their species for
Absolutely.
us. And we've learned so much. Elephants, lions, tigers, etc. They've really given us such amazing stuff to work with.
We're just going to now just look at some of the herbage here that I've brought along with me. We've got rose, we've got lavender, we've got borage, we've got yarrow, just to see if there is any interest with some of this natural herbage. This is the most beautiful place with lots of trees here for shelter, with a good canopy, lots of sunlight here, lots of water, and a very, very large area from which we can observe the leopards today. This is a wonderful opportunity to spend time with these gorgeous cheetahs, and the fact that Vicky is doing with so much rehabilitation here, it's really wonderful with her team of dedicated and devoted volunteers. So this is Bailey, a beautiful cheetah Vicky is introducing me to now. He's actually got 3 legs, and Vicky here is rehabilitating Bailey.
How long has Bailey been here, Vicky? He's been here probably about 3 or 4 years now. He came through a rescue situation, and obviously with having his 3 legs, he's better in captivity than he would be in the wild. He has a friend who's a little bit not as socialised as he is, and but he's done a lot of education, Elizabeth, with children, with people.
Yeah.
And I find him very great to work with. He likes people, and he's a great specimen to do this with. Is there anything in here, Baze, that you would like? There's some funny things here. Look. Would you like to see what's the? Would you like to smell that?
Lovely.
Okay. Or anything else? There we go, better stop, otherwise I'll run out, Cosmos. Where it came from, they had no contact, they say. Cheetahs like you to be relatively rough in their faces as well. Let's just have a look at the time. You have to go fetch some people just now. Don't you find this incredibly
With the ticks,
important?
what do you do with them? Do you like to take them off?
We take them off. But we frontline when we, you know, it says every 4 weeks or whatever. I don't do more than what the bottle says, because I think it's just better.
So here we have Bailey now eating the catnip macerated oil. We've put it on a stone so he can just self-select and lick. You can see that he's sniffing intensely. This inhalation is going up into the limbic system. The limbic system is where we hold onto our emotions. So wherever Bailey was having to remember in the wild a certain place, a waterhole, or certain plants or foliage that he would need to self-medicate himself. So just now observing, looking around, and he's licking and chewing. So he's really processing, just sniffing. As you can see, look at the lick and the chewing that's now taking place. Remember that Bailey is just a cousin away from our lovely moggies that we have, domesticated cats. Look at the intensity now of how he's just looking into space. This is just as he is processing the smells. Just thinking very thoughtfully about the smelling process. And here we have up close Roxy, a beautiful hyena. And how old is Roxy?
She's also about 4 years old. She came together with the white lion, that's why we ended up having her. She wasn't one of a choice, but we love her now.
We are just looking at borage now, and the whole plant, because the borage oil is from the flower, and borage oil is full of vitamin 3, 6 and 9. She's just having a sniff. She's having a good sniff. This is going up into, she's taking it away with her. The reason why our beautiful hyena bitch here is so interested in borage is that this tiny flower is key to the oil. The oil is expressed from this flower. The seed is then cold pressed for the beautiful oil to come out, and borage is very important for us. It's a beautiful taste. I can taste the oil as I'm starting to eat that little plant. All aspects of the rose is edible. Having a good sniff here. She's really sniffing the rose now. The rose has many properties, an aromatic smell that is very, very powerful. She's licking and chewing. I'm just having a sniff here. Coming back to the borage, this is her most favourite, and if you think that the oil is expressed from a tiny flower, as she's carefully now taking the stone back, really smelling it, just having a look, and now she's going back to the other stone, as we can see, and she's licking the second one. She's coming back now to the third, and as we can see, she's not interested in the rosehip. She's licking and chewing, but she took a lick of the marigold. Look at this. So as we can see now, she's rolling in the yarrow. She's really loving this and putting this over her body. She's actually understanding that this is important for the ticks that are on all of the animals' bodies at this time of the year. She's coming now back to the catnip and the marigold. She's licking and chewing, looking very thoughtful. And here she is, just taking a really nice bath now, just sitting in that lovely cool water. And she's actually looking at her reflection.
Yeah, probably.
She's really enjoying herself now in the water. I think there's a mixture of things going on here because she has sensed and smelled and tasted so many of the plants, etc. Her innate ability would also want her not to have any sense on her whatsoever if she was out in the wild and she was seeking food or prey. That she's really doing a combination of things. It's quite warm here at the moment, so she's loving the water, bathing herself. But also this could be an emotional reaction to some of the herbage as she enjoys herself, because it's a huge release, the herbage, so that animals can play and release the joy in themselves. Yes. Okay, so we're eating the borage now, and we're also eating the yarrow. This is incredibly important. The borage is containing the omega-3s and 6s, which is very important for... Hello, Dad.
Okay, come this side.
Which is very important for the senior. The senior here. Yeah, thank you. So she's really analysing the yarrow, and still she's eating it. As we can see now, she needed to check it out first of all. She's going to be taking it herself first of all, and not giving it to the youngsters. She needs to check for herself that this is going to be edible and it's going to be okay for her. And so she's now just really interested in some of the other trees here, and as you can see, an elephant eats an awful lot of vegetation. This is a wonderful time of the year because we're just coming into spring now, and here in the spring, as we know, everything is starting to flourish, and so the elephants are seeking out the top of the branches, the beautiful young shoots that are closest to the sun, and this amazing long trunk that they can use now to get to those very important vibrations, which is the chlorophyll in the leaves. Some thyme. So she's sniffing it. No, not interested. We're just going to now try some chives. No, she is. She's found it. So chives are very, very important. Chives are part of the family that help with parasites. So chives are part of the, as we know, garlic and the allium family. Just taking it from me. And I'm just going to try some borage now.
Look, the female's trying to take it out of her mouth. Give the big female some borage.
So this is fantastic that we're seeing here the elephants self-selecting borage, chives, and I'm just going to try now some mint.
She's saying please.
So now we're just trying mint.
Just go closer there, Georgie.
And we're just
in case it thumps her.
trying now the thyme.
No.
This is quite incredible that we're just seeing herbs that we can grow. Some more borage happening here. And I'm just going to try some lavender.
She's picking up the flower and putting it in her eye.
Okay, so we're just feeding a clove of garlic. Garlic is incredibly important as an anti-parasitic. Also, it's anti-inflammatory, it's also antibiotic. And as you can see, she's rubbing it on her tusk, and now she's taking it internally. Because if you think about how do mammals utilise Is that okay?
Yeah, put it in
Am
there.
I okay to do this?
Yeah.
So now we've got chives, and so she's loving the
Well,
chives.
let's see what she does with the ginger.
Okay, and I just want to carry on with the chives. This is quite incredible. There we go. And I feel absolutely so blessed to be doing this. This is now the two male lions. Vicky, what are their names?
The closest one to us is Savu, which is a very special lion. Next to him is Salu, and in the distance there, a couple of meters away, is Dar. It's very interesting to see how these guys change their roles every now and again. This big male looking at us now, sniffing at us now, Savu, he used to be alpha male here. He's now, funnily enough, been taken over by the little squib because we had these as cubs. And Dar, the one at the back there, was very much the squibby lion, the runt of the litter, very much on his hind foot sort of thing, and has now taken over the alpha position in the pride. Isn't that so, my boy?
And tell me, Vicky, what does it mean to you, this rehabilitation work that you're doing? How is this helping us to understand wild animals more?
Well, I think Elizabeth is exactly what you just said. It is helping us to understand animals. These are animals that would never have been in the wild, would never go into the wild, but we make a very comfortable situation for them here. And lions, quite frankly, do very little in the morning and they slacken off in the afternoon. So they don't need acres and acres and hectares to run around in. Their camp is fairly big enough for them. They enjoy eating, and obviously a good-looking girl every now and again is top of their priority.
And what are you feeding these lions?
We feed these lions a mixture of food. We have a supplement that goes with all their food, which is called Predator Powder, which is just a multivitamin, come a bit of an extra calcium. We feed obviously horse meat, game meat off the farm, and chickens.
And I understand that the horse meat that you do use are horses that are coming into very old age and are going to be passing over anyway.
Absolutely, and you know, Elizabeth, we utilise every single bit. Obviously the lions get the fair share.
What do you find that they tend to go for first of all, like, you know, when they're eating their prey?
They're not at all fussy.
Right.
But we give them relatively select pieces because we keep other pieces for. We have a huge vulture colonies here, and we've got a restaurant on the farm which we can have anything up to 200 vultures on a feed, which is so lovely to see, because over the last sort of 30 odd years their numbers have dwindled and then come back again and dwindled again. You know, they're very, very sensitive to poisons, etc., which get put out in carcasses for jackals.
Here we are with Vicky and the most beautiful lioness. Vicky, who is this?
This lioness is Rosie. She is so special. You know, lionesses have very much a mind of their own, and she's a very sharp lioness. When we work with her, you've got to be quite careful. She likes to just quickly nip your ankle so you can fall down, but she's a wonderful lioness to work with, and she loves her work.
Who is she living with in this pride?
She's living with her brothers and another lioness that got brought in for rehab with us, but she doesn't have the same temperament. This lion's temperament is definitely better than most lionesses I've worked with. The males are all pretty much the same, but she's very willing to do her work, enjoys her work, loves running on a lure, just enjoys being with us.
And how old do you think she is?
She's probably 7 now. She was bred on the farm, and she's probably 7 now. Hey, Rosaline. Hey, my darling.
And how many females are in this pride?
There's 2 and 3 males.
And how do they all get on together?
Absolutely fine.
And your males, what are they called?
They're called Dar, Salu, and Savu.
And as you can see here, Rosie is doing everything that a domesticated cat would do. She's rubbing her face up against the side of this enclosure. If you look at the size of her paws, you can see exactly the same as any other cat. And what's really interesting is she is just very interested in running her face all along here, marking her body as she goes.
And that's a lion for you. She'll greet you, say hi, and then she'll go and sit under the shade of an acacia tree.